everybody doing today? As Manny said, my name is Tony Granados, and I'm the Executive Director of the LEAP Foundation. Manny, before you go too far, thank you for the kind words you said about me and the organization. I appreciate it. Thank you. So, basically, Manny and I got to talking, and we decided we would, well, actually, before I even start telling my story, I want to give you all a heads up, okay? I am not a public speaker. I don't consider myself a public speaker. I'm kind of new to this whole thing. So if at any time I start to speed up really fast or get overly excited, just bear with me. It's because A, I'm from the East Coast, but B, it's because I'm really passionate about what I'm going to share with all of you today. And it's my goal that in our short time together, I can deliver something of real value, something that you'll be able to take home, apply to your life, and see a change in the results that you're getting in the classroom, on the sports field, or for the parents here in the workplace. So like Manny said, we decided to figure out what would be the best thing for me to share with you. And we think the best thing would be to talk a little bit about my experiences with LEAP and a little bit about our curriculum. So before I get into that, by a quick show of hands, how many of you have ever heard of the LEAP Foundation? Anyone? Okay, a few of you. All right, so how many of you have never heard of the LEAP Foundation? And how many of you are not going to raise your hand no matter what I ask? Some honesty? There's one over here. Okay, well let me tell you all who I am and what LEAP is all about. So essentially for the past 20 years, our team's been traveling around the country, interviewing the most successful people we could find. And we've been asking them the question, what does it take to be successful? Now what we found is that regardless of the industry that the person was in, there were a certain set of habits, traits, and characteristics that they all shared. What we've done at LEAP is we've taken those findings and compacted them into a one-week program, a youth leadership program that I put on at UCLA. This year's is happening this summer, July 30th to August 5th. We're going to have over 500 students there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share with you just 2 of those success principles that we've uncovered, and then I'd like to use them as somewhat of a framework to build upon some college experiences that I've had when I transitioned to college. And I want you all to leave with at least 3 different tips you can apply immediately once you start getting to school. So I might as well get right into it, and I want to tell you the first success principle. Success principle number 1 states that successful people discover and master the system. So when I say the system, it's kind of we all know what systems are, but a system basically for anything that you want to accomplish or do. There are a certain set of key inputs, rules, regulations, actions you must take that will determine your outcome, okay? Now, you all recognize that there are systems out there. You may just have never heard that terminology used. And I can tell because you're here today. You recognize that when you're getting ready to transition into college, with the financial aspect or the application process, there's a certain system, and Manny's team with College Planning ABC gives you access to the system, so you can do it the right way the first time. Now, these systems exist in anything that you want to accomplish, and I don't know how many of you know this, but on average, it takes the average student 6 years to complete a 4-year degree. Those are the stats nowadays. 6 years to complete a 4-year degree. And that's not because students are, or the schools have created extra credit requirements for a single major. It's not because students are double, triple majoring, quadruple majoring. That's not the reason. The reason is because students are preparing to transition for college, and they're showing up without a system in place. They think they're just going to figure it out along the way. And the results of people trying to do it that way, poor grades, switching your majors once, twice, 3 times before you graduate, and for parents here, an additional 2 years of tuition payments. It doesn't need to be that way. It's really important that for students, that you figure out that system for success. And for the parents, in anything else you want to do, uncover the system and master it. The second success principle I wanted to share with you today is one that's really close to me. It's actually I'm a big proponent of this. It's that successful people seek out and utilize mentors. Successful people seek out and utilize mentors. So when I'm talking about mentors, I'm sure there's somebody in here who's picturing that little green guy, Yoda from Star Wars, or some all-knowing guru. in reality, a mentor is anybody who has successfully accomplished something that you want to do. All right? So a mentor could be a coach from sports who has successfully gone to states, who can show you how to get in the right headspace and watch films and how to train in the off-season. A mentor could be a teacher, someone who has had academic works published or is doing cutting-edge research. Or, one of the most often overlooked mentors can be your parents. Show you how to successfully raise a good family or be an entrepreneur. Mentors are all around us, and not everybody is taking advantage of the vast knowledge that they have. Because what a mentor does for you is a mentor will give you insight to the system required to accomplish that goal. All right? So mentors already know the system. They know the ups, the downs, the pitfalls, the mistakes, and they can help you by sharing the system with you, thus eliminating the learning curve, so that you can get on your way to success faster. So one of the things that we say at Leap, or actually, you all will probably agree with me when I say this, but it takes us a lifetime to learn from our own experiences. But how long does it take you to learn from somebody else's? My answer is lunch. Really, if you have the right mentor, if you have the right attitude going into it, and you ask the right questions, you can dramatically cut down your learning curve. You can get right on your way to success. And the thing about getting mentors is you're never too young to get a mentor. In fact, you're never too old to get a mentor. All of us can go out here and find mentors. I always say that it is better to copy genius than create mediocrity. It's better to copy genius than create mediocrity. So I just wanted to give you those two very quick and simple simple principles for success. And my goal here is because one thing we all have in common is that we're getting ready to make that transition into college, correct?
Yeah.
So first time going to college, good. Well, I was exposed to this LEAP curriculum, all these success principles, when I was 15 years old. So I've been involved with this program for a long time as a student, and I came up through the ranks of it. So when I was in your seats, trying to figure out what I was going to do when I got to college, I decided to double down on those two success principles and really make an effort to apply them to my college career. So, why do we go to college? There's a bunch of reasons. There's social growth, to take part in deserving college activities and programs, to meet people and learn to interact. But can we all agree that grades are pretty important? You nodded, we get agreement there? Right. Grades are very important in college. So when I decided that I was going to go to Penn State University, and I knew that I wanted to get a 4.0, I went out and found people who had successfully gotten good grades. I went and interviewed my sister, my older sister. I asked friends who were already in college, what have you been doing? What do you study? What's the trick to getting good grades? I talked to guidance counselors, and I talked to the teachers themselves. And I took away 3 points, and that's what I want to share with you now. 3 points for common sense college tips that are uncommonly practiced. All right, the first tip I want to share with everybody here is a little foreign. It's called the Golden Triangle of Success. All right, now the Golden Triangle of Success is based upon the research of Dr. Paul Nolting, who's a learning specialist. And what Dr. Nolting found is that depending on where the people sit in the classroom, where they physically sit, there's a positive correlation to the grades they receive. Okay, he calls that the Golden Triangle of Success. And every room has one of these. In this room, it would be going right across the front here, and it tapers off to the back. So depending on where you sit, the people who sit in that triangle statistically have better grades. Once you go further off to the back left or the back right, the grades stop to drop. I see people kind of laughing about this. This is really interesting. If you now know that determining where you sit will have a relationship to the grades you receive, wouldn't it make sense to be sitting in the front row? So, understanding the learning triangle, or the Golden Triangle of Success, you should, and I encourage you all to take action and go sit in the front row. Now, here's the thing. This is not about kissing up, all right? I'm not trying to tell you how to kiss up. We can do whole conversations about that later. But don't look at it as kissing up either. What you're doing here is you're sitting in the front row because you are making a strategic decision to position you to get the grades you want, okay? So you're not kissing up. I don't want you to look at anything I'm telling you about as kissing up, because that really doesn't work. It's not genuine. The second tip I want to share with you is a tip here. Let's start with this before I get into this one. How many of you have heard of the golden rule? Everybody, what is the golden rule? Somebody shout out. Go on to others, they have done to you. Yes, I've heard that golden rule. Well, growing up in my household, my parents had a different golden rule. And it was, he who has the gold makes the rules. So I don't know if you've ever heard that. It may sound like as long as you're living under my roof or in my house, you'll do as I say. You see some heads nodding here, parents, students, everyone's agreeing. Well, using my parents' golden rule, let's use that for a second. When you go to college, what is the gold that you're after, the students? The grades. It's the grades. So understanding that the grades are what you're after, wouldn't it make sense? So let's think, who is the person then, if we're going for the grades as being the gold, who is the person that sets the rules, determines the system? It's the teachers and the professors. So wouldn't it make sense to go and interview and ask these people how to get a good grade in their course? So what I did, and what I was told to do, is when you show up, now in college, you're going to have a different teacher every semester in a bunch of classes, okay? When you show up, it is so important that you make a point to walk up and introduce yourself to your teacher. I found that the best time to do it was the first study hours that they made available, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to go up, you're going to introduce yourself, and you're going to say this. My name is Tony Granados. I am a freshman, business management major freshman, and I read your syllabus, so I know a lot about the class, but I wanted to know if you can give me any other tips or or any other study habits or any type of insight, because I was a 4.0 student in high school, and I want to continue that into college. Then you be quiet. After the teacher lifts his jaw off the floor, because nobody does this, they'll say, wow, okay, the tips from my class are show up for study hours, to do this, to read the books, or to find this blog. Very often I found professors that do blog postings. So when you track what they're doing, what's important to them, you're able to interact and connect with the teachers. And for everybody going to a big school, that's incredibly important. I had classes of 700 people at Penn State. Okay, so it's important that you stand out, because that's going to affect your grade. You'll also find that before quizzes, before exams, the professors, because they like you, because you've already introduced yourself to them, they'll share with you what to study. I've had professors say, Chapter 2, know all the definitions, pay attention to the case study in Chapter 3, and ignore Chapter 4. That happens all the time if you go up and introduce yourself to your teacher. You just have to ask, and nobody thinks of it. But this is, introducing yourself to your teacher is no longer kissing up, okay? You're not doing this to kiss up. You're doing it because it's a strategic decision you're making to get better grades in class. The third point I want to share, and this one is the most common sense, but I want to make sure everybody gets this, is taking active notes. All right? Now, when I was in high school, I used notes. I sure did. They were photocopied notes from my friends. All right? I didn't take notes myself. Figured I could figure it out. But when I got to college, I was told that I was missing out. I didn't really understand the real reason or the real benefit of taking notes. So real quickly, let's all think back to the last time you were in a classroom. You're sitting there all day and you're watching the teacher up at the front of the board. Have you ever stopped to figure out or to think about what the teacher is watching, what the teacher is doing? The teacher's looking back at you. They're seeing the people who are yawning. They're seeing the people who are daydreaming, seeing people who are texting on their cell phone. And they're also seeing the people who are actively taking notes. Now, when you're up in this position as a teacher or as a speaker, what happens is you find the people who are giving you positive feedback. And that's where you talk to. That's where you teach to. That's where you're engaged with. So if you find yourself in a situation where you have a big classroom, stand out by taking active notes. Teachers will recognize it, remember you. And here's something great that you don't see in high school, but you do see in college. They have something called a participation grade. Okay, participation grade is 10 to 15% of your final grade in pretty much most courses is determined on your level of participation. So I always joke with my friends, it was the I like you grade. That's literally what it was. But for some of my friends, it was the I don't like you grade. And I'm saying that joking, but in reality, these are free points that you should get every time. And by taking active notes, by introducing yourself, by sitting in the front row, all these techniques come together to get you those points. Because there's going to be a day where you're running a club or you're joining a fraternity or you're doing charity work and you don't have all the time to study, that those points, participation points, are going to get you the A that you need. So rack them up, and as Manny said, get up, you say collect the crumbs, is that what you said, or scrape the crumbs? Something like that. Don't leave anything on the field for sport baseball players. Don't leave men on the bases. Collect all your grades. So sitting where you sit in the classroom, taking notes, and introducing yourself is not kissing up. I wanted to say one more time. These are decisions that you're making. They're going to allow you to earn the grades that you want to get. These are strategic decisions. So I encourage all of you, as you go off onto college, to consciously make those decisions and look for other areas that you can do and take steps that most other people aren't doing. Because you know your goal. Your goal is the grades. And you'll do what it takes for the grades. So I gave you those tips based upon my experience of when I went to Penn State. But all of those tips are based upon the framework of the two things that I told you initially. Two success principles of mentors and systems. Now those are just two of the many principles that we talk about during the LEAP program. As Manny said, we're going to have 500 students at UCLA this summer for our program. They come from all across the country. We have 20 kids coming from Australia this year. We have 4 kids coming from South Africa already. We also have people from Eastern Europe who come, and we have students from Canada, all on the East Coast. Everybody comes to UCLA for the 1 week program. The program is July 30th to August 5th. What we've done is we've taken 20 years of curriculum, put together the 1 week program. It is a packed week, but we understand that the students here are going to be investing a week of their life. So I want to make sure that that time is worthwhile. We have the nation's top public speakers, motivational speakers in the high school and college circuits. We have amazing speakers, amazing CEOs, amazing doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. We had Usher there 2 years ago. We had Eva Longoria last year. We had Manny Fabriker. But here's the thing. When you see all these people in different industries, what you're realizing is they justify. They're showing you that the same techniques of mentoring, success, of goal setting, of time management, of positive self-talk, of being very careful of the people they surround themselves with. All of these success principles translate no matter what you're trying to accomplish and do. The ultra-successful people do these. The ultra-successful, the people who have sustainable success, follow these natural laws that we present to you. So, as I said, the program is 1 week, and normally the program, it's a great program. And we have, for the whole entire week, it's $3,000 for the week. What that includes is your room, your board, your tuition, all program fees. You won't need a dime when you get on campus. Unless you want to buy a hooded sweatshirt from UCLA, you won't need a dime. Everything is taken care of. Now, because we came here last year, because of the relationship we have with Manny, for anybody who's interested in signing up today, we're going to knock $1,000 off of that. You'll still get everything. So it'll be $19.97 to take part in the program. The ages for the students, we actually take students from 15 years old up to 24. We run 2 programs concurrently. One's for the high school students, and then everybody here would be in the young adult program, which is for 18 and up, getting ready to transition into college. And it's really an amazing program. I encourage all of you, first of all, leapfoundation.com is our website. Make a mental note if you want to look at us later. But again, the opportunity, the offer that we're doing today is only available today. Now, I've got a little table in the back there where I'm going to be hanging out for the rest of the night, and I actually have to catch a flight at 8 p.m., so I'll be here as long as you need me. And I encourage you to come up, ask me about the program. Like I said, I'm really passionate about this. I can talk with you, see if you think the program is something that you even want to do. I'm sure it will be. But be back there, come, ask me questions, and I really would be excited and happy if you could become some of our LEAP success stories in the future. We work with families, we get great results. We had 15 families from this meeting last year, 15 families enrolled. So when Manny says that he saw the results of this program, it's with his families. He's seen it. So again, I'll be back there. Come talk to me. I really like talking about the program. I've got brochures, videos, and everything about LEAP to give you an idea of what we do. And this year's program is going to be the best one yet, and I really hope that some of you will join us there. Okay? Did I give you guys something of value at least before the whole sales talk? Well, that's what I wanted to do. So thank you.